Golf Central on YouTube is brought to you by the new elite family of woods and irons from Callaway.
That is the biggest breakout star of the last few years, Rose Zhang. She had a prolific amateur career at Stanford and then went out to win in her professional debut at the 2023 Mizuho Americas Classic, becoming the first player to win an LPGA event in her first start as a pro since Beverly Hansen all the way back in 1951. And now the 22-year-old, backed it up the following year. She won the Founders Cup, making birdie on 4 of her last 5 holes in the final round at Upper Montclair Country Club. Rose, so good to see you. You've made such an impact on this game already, but I know this has been a bit of a tough year for you. You've been struggling with a neck injury. You've been studying hard at Stanford. Where are you at sort of mentally and physically coming into this week?
Surprisingly, it has been an extremely tough year. It's not a 2025 that I would have imagined. I planned out everything with my agents, with my team, on what events I'm playing in, what events I want to play well at. And then all that flew out the window once my neck started acting up. But I felt like this break was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, where I was able to slow down a little bit. Everything has happened so quickly, and then my off seasons didn't really feel like off seasons either, since I was taking the full course loads when I was back at school. So, all in all, I think my mental state is honestly pretty good. I think I'm very mentally challenged, and I feel grateful for the process that I've put in and the efforts that I've put into getting back into being healthy, and then also slowly trending back into the golf direction. Obviously, I don't think things will look too pretty, but I also think that I'm doing a lot of good things right now.
So what do you expect from yourself this week? I mean, are you physically up to the challenge? Can you move the way you want to? Can you hit the ball as far as you need to? Where are you from a percentage standpoint physically?
Right, I'd say I'm at a 70% from being like perfect, but at the same time, I think the U.S. Open is not really a venue or an event where you kind of expect to always have your A game, especially in these tough conditions. A lot of it is mental. A lot of it's just having a grit and being very disciplined, especially at Erin Hills on this golf course. There's a lot of course management that needs to be done, and being very affirmative with where you want to place it, and being lucky every now and then. I think that's all part of the recipe for playing really well. Personally speaking, I do think my expectations are very low for myself, but it's also to make sure that I'm getting back into the groove of where I want to be.
Rose, you obviously have an exceptional USGA record, and you're a veteran of this championship. You played your first US Women's Open in 2019. What do you remember about that week, and maybe what advice would you give to all the first-timers, especially the amateurs playing this week?
Right. It's honestly an incredible honor as an amateur to be able to play against the best in the world, especially on a professional level. I remember back in 2019, I came from an AJGA invitational event, and my coach got mad at me at the time because I was playing like an 18-hole practice round on Tuesday afternoon, whereas everyone came like on Saturday or Sunday. But I just remember it was super fun, but at the same time very intense. Everyone wants to play well, and they're always challenged by the golf course and the conditions that they're in. I think the embracing part will be very important for everyone who's either first time out here or amateurs. It's not an easy week for anyone. Everyone's gonna have the mental resilience in order to overcome anything that they kind of see and meet. But I think that's probably the biggest thing, the embracing part, and making sure that, yeah, it kind of sucks sometimes when you make a triple or like a double, but
Welcome to the U.S. Open.
yeah, exactly. It's like, welcome. Like this is gonna be the toughest challenge for everyone, and you're gonna just have to bounce back from there.
I want to talk about your transition from the college system into the professional ranks. In a college, you're with your teammates all the time. It's a lot of fun. Even though you've kind of been prepping as a professional, you then come into the professional ranks, win your first event as a pro. Tour life is very different. You know, I did it for a long time. I would like to kind of hear how that transition was for you, and what have you found, the most challenging thing about tour life?
It's very interesting because I felt like I was in a position that I could be the most prepared when coming out here. And the first couple of years I did. But at the same time, when I was in college, I knew that I wanted to turn pro. I turned professional after sophomore year, but I had NIL. I was able to sign with my agency, Excel, and they created a team that allowed me to go out there and just play some golf while I was getting used to, you know, the entire inside the ropes, outside of the ropes line. It's kind of difficult for anyone coming from college to the tour life, because I think the team atmosphere is very different. Everyone has a good time, everyone bonds with each other, and yes, it's competitive within the team, like you're qualifying to get a spot, to play in events, but you're also hanging out with these people every single day, and you form really close friendships. Whereas like on tour, you will have good friends out here, but you're not hanging with each other every single day, every single minute, not 6 a.m. workouts with each other, and you guys aren't really completely sharing everything ins and outs. And if you are, it's probably one or two people who have similar schedules to you, or that you grew up really closely with. The thing about tour life too is like you're on your own in terms of traveling. You have to manage your entire team on your own, whereas you always had a coach to do that in college. And I think the growing up part is making sure that you have the right support system, trying to manage that, and then at the same time trying to do your job out there. There's a lot more pressure, and I always thought that college was a little bit of a bubble. For myself personally, I had my teammates to guard me, I had my coaches to guard me from everything, all the super intense pressure. But then when you're out here, it's very easy to just see a lot of people lined up and ready to watch you play, but you have to internalize that bubble yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
You seem to handle the transition beautifully. You also seem to handle the expectations of being such a phenom and then moving into professional golf beautifully. So I look at Ingrid Lindblad coming out here, I look at Lottie Woad coming out here, and so, you know, how did you manage those expectations so with such equanimity? And what advice would you give to the young players coming up who have similar expectations?
I took a lot of pride in the way that I went about in my process in golf. I knew how my golf swing was. I knew how to get the ball around the golf course. And I think when you're under such big pressure or under a lot more light, you know, it's easy for you to be distracted about the first thing or your first priority, which is golf, and making sure the golf ball is going where you want it to go. I think I was very drilled and committed to being able to play the best that I could. I deviated a little bit from that just because there's just so much going on, and I didn't really give myself that much of a break. Therefore, you know, the physical body kind of shows out a little bit when that happens. So, you know, for Lottie and for Ingrid, who's also made the transition perfectly,
yeah.
But they've taken a lot of practice and preparation to be able to play at the highest level, and they show that they're able to. I think the process is very important, and I was able to really capitalize on that.